What's up, Whittier?
Welcome to What's Up Whittier, a homegrown podcast.
A podcast to showcase Whittier's businesses, personalities, and hidden treasures.
Hey everybody, producer Christine here with this week's Community Corkboard announcements. I have some great news. As you guys know, I am a cultural arts commissioner. I just got some information sent over to me from Vicky Santana, and I wanted to let you know about these upcoming events. On Monday, May 25th, we remember those online. We honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice live on Facebook and on Instagram with a virtual Memorial Day service. So this is really exciting. It's going to be again Monday, May 25th at 9 a.m. One thing that I always talked about, in this last year, in my adventure with the city, is that we need to be on social media. But I am very grateful that we can celebrate and honor those on Facebook and on Instagram. Make sure that you follow them. And next up, we have the 17th annual Community Street Banner Program. And I am on that subcommittee, which is really cool. So the banners along Whittier Boulevard are going to start going up. They will be up actually all of July, August, and September of this coming year, 2020. So that'll be something to look forward to, when you're out. We're not really supposed to be out as much, but, if you're going to take your errands, I think it'll be a nice thing for our families to see. Also, yesterday on May 20th, the dog park opened. So just remember that the hours for the Whittier Dog Park are 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Thursdays, 12 to 7 p.m. So here are some new guidelines that we have for the dog park. It is by reservation only. And you will get 50-minute time slots. So you get one of those. And you can make your reservation at whittierrec.com. That's Whittier, WHITTIERREC.com. And, just important to remember when you're going out into the city to keep 6 feet from others, avoid handshakes. Face masks are required at the parks, and only 10 people in the park are allowed at any time. And it says do not touch other dogs and limit contact with high-touch equipment, so gates, benches, etc. So I'm really happy that the city of Whittier is doing their due diligence with this. And also, the Palm Park Tennis Center has reopened. That reopened on May 18th, and you need to make a reservation again on whittierrec.com. As well as our Palm Park Tennis Center, dog park, all of our trails are open. So don't forget to visit the Greenway Trail to get in your exercise and to remember practicing social distancing. And, it's nice to communicate with others as you pass and say hi, good morning. But when you're running, make sure you say right, left. So anyway, all this information is available at whittierrec.com, where you can learn a little bit more information and get involved with our city. I'm very grateful to see how proactive everyone's being in regards to the situation. So yeah. Thank you very much. And today we have a very special episode. So don't forget to follow all of our social medias. You can follow me at The Singing Moon. You can follow Remo at Remo the Realtor and Jessie at Jessie Architect. These guys are great. They're great to do business. And we are going to hear a little bit more. So take it away, Jessie and Remo.
What's up? What's up, Whittier?
Dun-da-da-da.
I think Remo has the COVID-19 jet lag.
The jet lag?
Yes, there's a jet lag. Remo, how you doing? Christine, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. No, it's as we are going through this process and trying out some new tech right now with Zencaster and with Google Meets and all that. Yeah, we're hanging in there. We're doing good. I think everything is happening. How are you doing,
I know
Buffy?
it's been a while since we've recorded a live podcast, and with this whole quarantine situation, we obviously we're all trying to get this thing going and keep it running, and so now we're doing the whole virtual podcasting. So everybody out there who's listening, just kind of bear with us. We're testing new grounds here, new territory. So let's we'll kind of continue going through this.
Yeah,
For
well,
today, Christine, obviously, I think it'd be great
All new
to.
technology that we're getting used to.
hi, Remo.
That's right. Remo, by the way, is he's probably even though he's down the street from us, it seems like he's across the world somewhere in traveling.
Yeah. He's traveling down
Is
Washington.
my audio that bad?
It just cuts in and out.
Is my audio that bad? Oh, I'm sorry about that because earlier I got a call, and this is, I guess, one of the things that technology doesn't allow for when you're doing these Zoom calls. If you're doing it on your phone and you get a call, then you disappear for a minute or two.
Ah, got it. Well, hopefully it won't happen anymore. So we're good.
That's right. That's right. So what's going on, guys? I think for today's podcast, I think it's just more of a conversation, trying to see how everybody's doing, how everybody's kind of dealing with this whole, I guess, new times, new way of, I guess, doing business or living. Um, how are you doing, Christine?
I'm doing good. I am very grateful to, be a personal assistant. So I'm kind of expanding, businesses. It's interesting because I've been helping out a lot of individuals. Like, for instance, one of my clients is a photographer, and all of their events were canceled, right? So that's how they make a living. But
Hmm.
through the, EDD and stuff, we're actually doing construction right now. But through the EDD, we were able to secure funds so that we can take care of that. Get those funds back. So I'm really grateful for that, and now they're secure. But I applied for that and I didn't get it. I'm like, well, I still need to make money, so I built a website. Again, it's called personal. It's ChristineSingerLuna.com. But I'm selling personal assistant services. So that's a thing, and it's cool. I want to give a shout out to Eva Macias because one time I used to be Eva's assistant, right? Eva Macias, Saeed, Remo's wife. And I was her assistant for about over a year and a half. And one time she told me, she's like, you are my assistant because you are here to help me be my best self. And I was like, oh my God, that is so, like, it really um, changed my mentality about being an assistant. Like, I love helping individuals and being the administrator. It just feels good to send out an email, or it just sounds good to do things that you got to do. For other people, it help, and I like to help other people do that, help them be their
Yeah.
best selves. So, and not a lot of people even know how to navigate different processes. So I was like, man, maybe this could, one, become a business, right, to feed me, and two, I could actually help people. So that's why I decided to do that. So that's what I've been up to, just kind of figuring out, what to do in this new adventure. So I'm excited. I've already been getting calls, and I'm teaching people how to use their computers right now. So it's exciting. I'm excited about it. What have you been up to, Jesse?
Sounds like you're a handy woman.
You know what? There's, I guess, a handy woman. I just installed someone's TV today, so that's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
even that's not even part of my job description. But anything
that's
happens,
right.
anything goes.
But I will say that obviously these times are times that I think will either crush you, right? Or it would force you to start thinking or putting things in a different perspective, and start pivoting. So
Mhm.
for example, if in this case you're almost starting a new business, or another new business, and so it's something that's kind of turning with the times, right? And it's perfect because nowadays I think people working from home are going to realize that you can start doing things more virtually, and
Mhm.
so having a virtual assistant is going to be key. And so I think for a lot of business, it's going to be an advantage. Um, and again, so it's kind of thinking outside the box and trying to adjust with what's happening. We have colleagues who obviously are in also going or experiencing this situation, and how some of them are also kind of adjusting to the times. And again, some of them has shifted their business models, right? So that's kind of cool being able to see that. That's good. I mean, so far everything's going good. In terms of this whole dealing with this whole COVID thing, I mean, how have you adjusted or changed your lifestyle or your way of kind of your daily routine? Are you washing your hands more often?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely always washing my hands first when I come in, when I go out. Um, this is a thought that never really occurred to me. Like, I had read somebody's experience on Facebook that They hadn't left their house in weeks. They needed to get food, and so they went out. They came back. Like the second that they came back, they changed. They like took off all the clothes, put it in the wash, took a shower, and like changed. I haven't, gone that extreme, but
Hmm.
we're keeping limited contact, and there's only like since the beginning of the quarantine, there's been a small group of us that have, like come together and stuff. But
Quarantine as a group.
correct, correct. So it's like we're only close to each other, right? And I'm like coughing
Yeah,
over. Yeah. I don't know. Did you know that they're offering LA County residents free COVID testing?
I know they started to, but for me, it's one of those things where, like, if you go get tested, you're for sure you're gonna find out you've either had it or have a trace of it,
Mhm.
and at that point, I think it'll create more paranoia.
Yeah.
For me, it's just more like let it be or let it happen if it happens. Deal with it once it actually happens and becomes a big issue.
Mhm.
But you're right. I think what I've been noticing is that from the day this started to where we're at now, it's definitely obviously we've changed habits, daily habits, right? You're washing your hands more often, and you're keeping
Wearing a
making
mask.
sure you keep everything more sanitary or sanitized.
Mhm.
But I think some of that stuff is I think where I've been noticing that people are more laxed about it now. You would think you would see more people with a lot of masks on and full protective gear, but it's lessening, which is good because it just means that where everybody's coming to terms with reality that this is like any other virus. You just got to take the precautions like any other virus, right? Wash your hands and
Well, I
and
think
uh,
also, yeah, but
stay
I think
healthy.
some things that happened, like a lot of major events, and for instance, like I was just on a Disneyland podcast, okay, and we're talking about how why Shanghai Disney reopened and why it
Hmm.
might take a little longer for Disneyland to open. So one, it's about the hygiene stuff of the Eastern culture and stuff, like how they already are very hygienic and that kind of stuff. But I think also it's like the fact that they even closed, like I truly cannot imagine. We talk about how things are different. I've been looking at like old pictures at Disneyland, videos of Coachella, and I'm like, I cannot imagine that happening really anytime in the future.
Hmm.
So I think that's like a big adjustment that we've had to make. But I also think that we are at a place now because 2 months ago we like the state, created the stay at
Took
home order.
precautions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take those precautions. Yeah, it's just preventative measures, and we haven't seen what could have been. Like, if I still went to Disneyland, I can't, like, that's so many people I become exposed to, right? Now, I can probably tell you, just working here in my boss's building, it's just himself, myself, and the construction guy that I've been exposed to today,
Yeah.
besides my immediate household. But
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
like, who are they exposed to and who are they exposed to? Whereas if it was just a regular kind of a thing, you never, I don't know. It just also kind of makes me think of um, like the less and less people that we're seeing
Yeah.
out and about. Because I've been in Uptown, so like I work in Uptown and it's so empty.
Yeah. It's a ghost town.
It is. Have you been to your office?
Yeah, I've been to the office a couple times, but it's same thing. It's my building's pretty much empty. I have not run into people yet, but I think everybody's working from home, which is kind of respecting the or honoring the or following orders, right? Is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll get through this. So far, everything's good. Um, I guess knock on wood,
How are
keep
your
our fingers
kids?
crossed. Do everything else. We're doing well. They're doing well. Obviously, the homeschooling is the
That's awesome.
homeschooling is the hard thing,
Mhm.
just because we got to keep them on a routine, right? And we are the teachers, so it's more of like what's that joke? I gotta have a parent teacher conference. Oh no, if you see me talking to myself in the corners, I'm having a parent teacher conference.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just kind of stuff like that where you just kind of you gotta adjust, but at the same time you still gotta work, right? So you still gotta run the business and all that stuff. So
Yeah. Well, I
things
mean, your
have been
wife's a
good.
teacher, so it's like she has her own students plus her kids, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's, I mean, all those little, again, all those little factors that you throw in there, and it just makes it a long day, a blended week, really, because I don't even know what day we're on. But again, it's just at the end of the day, it's just keeping healthy, and keeping safe.
mhm. Oh, you know what I wanted to mention was all of these great like food deals. Have you seen all of these have you gotten any of them? These great food deals
Yeah,
from all
it's
the
been,
stores? Yeah.
yeah. I've been seeing. So what we've been trying to do is try to eat out like 2 to 3 days a week, and obviously trying to support local businesses, but at the same time trying to not trying to save some money.
Yeah.
Because now that we're eating at home, 3 times a week, it's a lot more than what we used to. So, um, but yeah, we've been lucky in the sense that restaurants have been putting out great deals. Um, the only thing is just the whole process, right? Like trying to go out and pick up the food, and I mean we tried the whole Grubhub kind of ordering type deal, but it's not the same. I mean the food might be cold, the presentation's not there, everything kind of, even though it's in a container, everything kind of meshes together.
Yeah.
So you're having a stew instead of like an actual plate. So we've been doing that more, just kind of going out and ordering rather and pick up rather than delivery.
Yeah.
um, is there one meal that you've noticed you've had more often?
You know what? The deli up reopened. So I've actually
That's right.
been having the deli up like once a week. I'm very grateful to be able
Nice.
to do that. So yeah, so me and my boss will have lunch and yeah, it's pretty good. So I'm glad that they've reopened during this, scenario.
Hmm.
Um, Modern Shaman, great nachos per usual. I do pick up there. And also I like pickup because you get to see your friends, right? Like the business
Yeah.
owners that you like to support and stuff. I've been Chef Tony from CGK. He had a great Mother's Day brunch, and I ordered that, and it was absolutely amazing. I've also tried their burger. They have like these sandwiches. They're two for $22 the sandwiches, and all that kind of stuff. So really cool. I'm very grateful for the businesses that are continuing to serve the community. You know what I mean? And also, the
Nice.
chicken coop has like there's a 32-ounce michi mix for $8. So
Oh
that's
wow.
perfect with a 6 pack of Modelo. I'm all about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm glad these restaurants have been able to keep their doors open by offering to go, because or curbside pickup, because definitely for some families or individuals, it works out. And again, you want to kind of change it up too. So being able to order different food rather than eating at home, it kind of helps,
Yeah,
especially
and
from my end.
yeah, exactly. That's yeah, for sure. What about you, Remo? What have you been up to? Or
Well, I am trying to bear this use of technology and trying to multitask like everything else. So I've been living at Home Depot.
nice,
And let me tell you something about Home Depot. There's usually I heard you guys talk about Disneyland earlier, and I know Disneyland's closed, but I think everyone from Disneyland started coming here
yeah, there are
because
always
the
lines
lines
out.
here are insane, and and um, and yeah, and it's so I've been I've been really busy with a few other things. We had a little baby girl, uh, 6 7 weeks 6 weeks ago now, a little over 6 weeks ago. So
Yay, baby Camila, she's
um,
so beautiful, Remo.
just uh, thank you. A lot of things are going on, and I know when we first started, we talked about my our use of technology during this time, and you know, technology is incredible when it works out really well, but it could be the most frustrating thing when it doesn't work out. Um, and I'm here at the moment in that part where it doesn't work out that well because I got part of what you guys were saying. Um, so yeah, quarantine life's been actually pretty good.
In terms of
I
the
appreciate what you're saying earlier about imagining what Coachella and Disneyland and all that stuff, and just all that was a month, 2 months ago. That everything was fine. They were playing basketball games,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more than 2 months, and now you just think about it, and it's like how like we've moved so much over the last over the last 2.5 months. Even just you mentioned that it's being lax a little bit. I mean, it is rare to see someone outside without a mask.
Yeah. Well, what about
And
UFC? Did you
I'm
guys watch?
here at Home Depot now. What's that?
I'm sorry, I was gonna ask. Did you see the UFC fight? What did you think about that? Like the UFC without having any people there. If they
Oh,
reopen
I
games.
didn't. I heard about it, but I did not see it.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I know they're going to be opening up basketball in a couple weeks, and that's the direction that they're going to be going, which is no no fans. And you know, if they're regular games, it's fine. But I think playoff games, it becomes a little weird. And so, you know, but I'd rather watch anything right now than if there's no fans. I don't care. I just want to watch some sports.
Yeah. It's yeah. What is life without sports? How interesting. What?
That's
How's your
right.
son doing? You know, I went to Buffalo Wild Wings yesterday to go pick up some wings, right? And I talked to one of the head bartenders there, and she was telling me that they're limiting the time that you sit at a table, and they're closing down the bar, and there's only going to be like 5 tables in that center area, and the whole wall that's lined with booths. They're only using 3 booths on like one side and 2 booths on the other side. Like they are really restricting um, seating in these places. So, yeah, I wonder how does your son feel about that, Jesse?
Well, it's definitely one of those things where it's strange. It's gonna be really strange just going out. I think I've been hearing a different point of view for that. Like, you know, you shouldn't be really restricting businesses and how they should operate. Obviously, you should put out these recommendations on what customers should do, and as a business, you should also take some precautions. But to start limiting or what's the right word? Setting those requirements in order for you to operate or run your business. I mean, it's definitely going to impact some businesses. For
Mhm.
example, like, and it's going to be the bigger chains, right? Or even the smaller ones too, because you think about the smaller businesses that are uh, smaller in space. If the capacity is, let's say, for example, 20 or 30, and all of a sudden you got to create distance, now that brings it down to more than half. And so, is that really going to be a model to be able to sustain that business? I think it's just more of like, hey, if you're gonna, as a customer, if you're gonna decide to dine out or go out and dine out, or go out and do anything in general, I think it's also the customer's responsibility to be able to, fall and do or abide by those requirements.
So
I mean,
that's
it's gonna be tough. I mean, it's gonna be. There's a lot of things. I mean, just business wide is also gonna be a little difficult.
yeah.
But again, it's all new, right? So we learn as we go.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that Bob Chapek, the CEO of Disney, what he said was, because you know, like we spoke about the Eastern culture and how they already, you know, deal with, they're always already very careful and hygienic and sanitization and things like that. But also, he said it's very dependent on human behaviors, right? On the customer
That's
behavior.
right.
Like, how do people, how, like as we see, some people have adapted, and that's also what we talked about, like even at the beginning, some people have adapted to this current situation. Some people probably didn't have to change anything because you know they're doing their thing, and some people have completely lost where to go, um, which you know it's all related to, this is just such a collectively uh, traumatic event, I guess. And it's just
Yep. Yep.
interesting to see how so many different people um, internalize it and use it, right?
Yep.
Because I mean,
Yep.
Remo's been super busy. You mean we've all been super busy, but it's because we made that. You know what I mean?
That's right. Remo, how's your business?
To your point, when you were saying about um, you know letting business kind of do it itself, as much I would say yes, I do believe in a slow rollout. I just think that there has to be some order. Now, I think one of the things that we probably touch on or don't touch on, which is probably politically charged, is what do we think about the closures or not closures? Should we let it open? The mental health issue that goes with quarantine. I mean, there's a lot of like things that are kind of happening there that that are real.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know we might have different opinions about it, but I want to make sure if you guys want to bring that up as well.
No, definitely, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
How's I was asking how's business? How's the real estate market?
The market, so it's it's unique, and so there's a few things that I would maybe say about the real estate market, and hopefully my audio is not poor. Um, and that is the real estate market moves slower than most markets, like the financial markets and so forth. So the real estate market slowed down about a month ago, where a lot of things were kind of not happening, and everyone was just kind of sitting on the fence during quarantine. But over the last maybe week to 2 weeks, it has just got insane busy.
Oh
And
wow.
I work with those that are looking to sell, and we have our team that works with buyers. And so across kind of everything, it's just the activity has picked up significantly. And so there's, real estate is considered an essential business, and so that has helped a lot. And there's a lot of protocol that it comes to showing a home, and a lot of new technology coming out, like these 3D tours that weren't really popular or as popular back a couple months ago. Now they're just the norm, and so the market has definitely picked up. And I and I think there's a lot of people that are still interested in buying because the cost of renting is still the same, and home ownership prices are still relatively affordable with the adjustment in interest rates because they recently dropped. Um, so real estate's been still moving really well. Um, yeah, the protocols though. I mean, we have to post certain signs at the house every time someone enters a property. They have to sign and declare that they're not they don't have COVID. Um, what else? They have to wear masks. We provide gloves and for our people walking in. There can't be no more than two families, including the seller, at any given time. So it's just there's a lot of restrictions, but it's good to be able to still work, which is I think is important because real estate drives a lot of other businesses and economies. When someone buys a house, it just doesn't stop there. They go to like I am at the local store. The contractors are employees. They eat at the local eateries, even though if it's just takeout. So there's a lot big, kind of trickle effect that happens with real estate that we're kind of proud to be in because that keeps things moving.
Mhm.
So in terms of home sales or home prices, have they dropped? Have they gone up? Are they steady?
I think in the entry level, and I say entry, the mid entry is more of, and I'll be specific to the city of Whittier, anything under 650, 700 is still moving relatively quick. Prices I don't see have dropped. I mean, assuming that it's priced well and is marketed well and looks decent, those homes are still moving. I think as you get higher in price point, they tend to move a little bit slower, but that's just natural. They move slower in a upward market anyway.
Mhm.
But the kind of entry level home, maybe 600,000 and below, in the city of Whittier, is still moving quickly. We have multiple offers on properties, so it's really business as usual, other than the safety measures that are put in there. So
How,
it's still a good time to buy.
how about from the like loan side of things? Like, is there still funding for if you're looking to buy a home?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It all depends on what you're on. So for owner occupied to buy just your single family residence, yes, there's a crazy amount of funding, and then there's also lower interest rates. So the interest rates for a 30-year fix are kind of floating in the really low threes, and depending on a few other factors, you might like the really high twos, and that's obviously insane. Now, where it's been a little bit restrictive is more on the higher higher loans, I would say anything over 700-800,000 is there's definitely been some pullback from the mortgage companies or from like I guess the higher powers. I don't even want to call it mortgage companies because they're just. And then the other part is if you're cashing out and it's a owner occupied, then if you're still able to obtain financing. Where it's gone really tight. So if there's any like investors or people that have a second home, when you cash out on your non-primary residence, it's gotten really really expensive. So that's probably where most people have seen it, and that's the market just contracting, making sure that if this investment doesn't work out, they don't want to be on the hook for that loan that there's no equity in. So unless you pay for it. So
Yeah.
but overall, there's financing available, and there's just the problem is there's very few homes available for sale.
If somebody's looking to step up to either a bigger house or a better neighborhood or something like that, I mean, is this the right time? Are we or just kind of wait it out or?
Well, it all depends. I mean, because we have a handful of different sellers that their thresholds to Corona and and again, not to get political, but some people think heavy conspiracy. Other people say, I'm staying home no matter what. And so, obviously, when we have clients, they're humans, and so they might have different opinions, whether we agree with them or not. So we have some sellers that don't care about Corona. They're saying, if someone's interested and wants to buy my house, bring them on over, right? Others are like, they want to make sure that that person is the one, right? You're only going to walk in my house if you're going to buy it, right? And so
Nice.
that's a tough kind of thing to kind of gauge because there's a lot of requirements for them to even see the property. Um, so, so that's why I think there's less properties even on the market, just because there's some fear around who would put their house up on the market during this time. The good side is, there's a lot of competition for your home, so you tend to, do well during this time because there's just not too many options. I think as of the weekend, last time I checked, there was 103 properties in the whole city of Whittier that were for sale, and that's condos, townhomes, units, single family residence, and on average, last year, for example, there was a little under 1,400 properties sold in the city of Whittier. So that means, if you just do easy basic math, that it's about 120 homes sell every single month. So if there's
So
less
it's on
than
track.
100 homes or 120 homes, then there's very few homes for sale. What we typically want to see is anywhere from 3 months to about 5 months, and that gives us kind of an equal market. So that would mean we would need to see, 350 homes to maybe 400 or 500 homes in the city of Whittier for sale for it to be a balanced market. So we're still in a
Hmm.
really strong sellers market, meaning there's a lot of people that want to buy and not enough people that want to sell.
Hmm. So sorry. So it's a. Would you say it's a seller's market or buyer's market?
Sellers market,
Oh, okay.
strong sellers market, too. Yeah.
Very cool. No, it's good. I mean, it's good to hear that
So
your business is still moving and you're doing well.
Well, what about you, Jesse? Do you
yeah.
think that now with a lot of people home, they're starting to do more DIY projects and they're looking to do more renovations, or how has your business handled this?
Yeah, from our end, I think like once we went into lockdown, I want to say probably the first 2 weeks, there was either people putting things on hold or just kind of saying, hey, let's take a little step back and see where this goes. Um, After that, things kind of started moving forward. Just the last 2 weeks, we've been getting a lot of calls for work that the people or homeowners want to do. We have some commercial that's happening, just because obviously they're taking advantage of this time to start doing some maintenance or renovations before they actually start opening the doors again. But from the homeowner side, I think it just gives people more time to understand how is it that they're living, what is it that they like and don't like about their house. And so they've had more time to think, and I think it's just now, pulling the trigger and moving forward with the actual work. We have seen trends in terms of what homeowners want in the home. Now we're seeing more people obviously wanting to have a dedicated office space, so they could work at home. Um, and have a again a dedicated office space so they could do work, but at the same time still have people come to their home, but not to their home, right? It's to that office space. We've also seen where they're wanting to have more of a kind of a gathering space, where if they, like in this case, now that they're quarantined, they want to be able to sit down as a family or as a group and just have a bigger space to be able to come together and enjoy some family time or quality time. um, and then just kind of keeping more stuff indoors, whereas before it was about, hey, I want to do an outdoor deck or an outdoor patio, or something that I can enjoy the outdoors. Now it's just more like, okay, let's start trying to figure out how we could enjoy the indoors. We have more indoor gyms, so people are thinking about how to create spaces within the house to do have it gym equipment. So again, it's just kind of going back to the stuff we used to go out for is going to start coming back into the house. We've had people starting to create laundry rooms within the house, whereas before, people were okay having in the garage or outdoors. Now people are looking to a dedicated space indoors. So there's been a lot of little tweaks here and there in terms of what the trends are. But again, I think this time has essentially helped understand what families really need within a home to
Mhm.
kind of deal with some of this stuff. So business is good. We're still moving forward. We're still kind of chugging along in terms of the work. Work has not stopped yet. It's really more just trying to keep with the pace, and then keep with the cities too, because obviously with this whole shutdown, or quarantine, a stay-at-home order, some cities have kind of limited their hours in terms of how many hours they're working at the city hall. I mean, every city hall that I know or working with, they're close to the public, but they are open either based by appointment or online interaction. The whole online interaction has, in some cities is great, some other cities are not so great. But again, I think we're all just learning to adjust and trying to keep business moving forward. I think right now with the whole work wise, we're doing a lot of planning. My hope is that in the next month or two, there'll be so much work on the construction side that I think it'll still keep things moving economically. So yeah, I mean, knock on wood, cross our fingers, uh, put a prayer out there, but things are going really well.
Oh, awesome. That's so good to hear. And, um, it's just so good to know that, people can, have you as a resource or anything like that. That's awesome. Um, well, do we have any kind of last thing that we want to get out before, we um,
I think
finish up with our update?
I think the last thing would be obviously out to the listeners who are listening to these podcasts, specifically this one. If there's anybody you guys think we should interview, or somebody you kind of have heard of, you might have heard a story of somebody, um, or maybe there's somebody in town who you might think could kind of point us in the right direction of interviewing, either a business, an individual, or individuals. Um, Let us know. Reach out to Christine, whether it's through Instagram, Facebook, or email, so we could book those individuals. But I think it's really more trying to get more dialed in terms of what type of interviews we're going to have coming up. I think we have a few lined up, Christine, right? That will be pretty interesting. Um, but
Sure. Like,
again,
yeah.
yeah. So in other words, you who are the listeners, tell us who would you like to, or what type of interview do you like to listen to, and we'll make that happen.
Yeah, you can send us an email at whatsupwithyourpod@gmail.com too.
Jesse, so sorry, I got disconnected, and I guess one plug to Microsoft, which your editors are on there. Make sure you don't put the mute button next to the end call button because I've hit it twice to unmute myself. They're right next to each other. Um, so I heard what you were saying regarding your business. So I take it then you are busy or extremely busy, and a lot of
Yeah,
people are
no, we.
they're just a
Uh,
little bit different.
Yeah, no, we're definitely busy. I mean, it's funny because I had a meeting yesterday with the client right before COVID. They kind of put it on hold, and then just yesterday we met up again, and they said, you know what, we've been sitting here for 2 months, and we definitely want to do something. And from their end, they're looking at trying to do the planning now. So hopefully, in the next couple months, things will get better, and people will be looking for work, and you'll get a bargain, right? I don't know if that'll work, but I like the way they're thinking. I mean, they're not just sitting there, hoping for something to happen. So,
Well,
but yeah, man, it's
how are cities doing? Because I know a lot of the work that you do. I mean, you're the step one, but then you take that work and send it over to the city or to the respective counties. How has that changed during this time, and what kind of, I guess, turnaround times have you been seeing? City of Whittier County or any other place that you work in.
again, kind of like I was saying earlier, it's just more depending on the city, and how they're set up for this whole shutdown. But it's either virtual, so you're submitting things online or via the internet. There's others that are drop off and pick up, but it's designated appointments only, and they're limiting. They give you a time slot, so you got to get in there at that time slot. If you miss it, you got to come back the next day. And so it just comes down to what kind of system they have. They both work. Some are more better than others. But I think the bigger the city or the county, right? Anything that gets bigger in terms of, I guess, population, you're gonna have more requests, right? So you gotta have the people, the right size of people, amount of people, sorry, to be able to address that stuff. When you don't, that's where you get into situations where things are taking longer. We have submitted some plans for a project that has taken longer than what it's expected, even through these times. But again, it's difficult because you almost have to start babysitting or nudging them more than you have to kind of get things done. And so, uh, again, it changes the way we're working. It definitely changes the time frame for people to kind of push projects through. But I'm hoping that as we're moving along, things will start getting better and more efficient. That's my hope.
Is there certain cities or that is doing really well and that you want to give them a kudos during this time?
There's a couple cities. I mean, Pico Rivera is one that I've been working with, and they've been awesome, man. They've been great. They got staff working from home, and they're answering calls and they're answering emails and they're giving you updates and stuff like that. City of Yorba Linda is another one. They're really great. They still offer the drop off and pickup. And same thing, they got individuals who are assigned to your project, and they'll give you updates and notices and stuff like that. So, those two have been really good so far. Um, I mean, I don't know. County is one that depending on where in the county you're in, because obviously the county is pretty big and they have several districts. So depending on what district you submit, some have been really great, some have been not so great. There's one that I'm working in, Irwindale, not Irwindale, Inglewood, and that one we're already going in about 3 or 4 months. So this is way before COVID, and we're still not done. Um, so I think it all depends on where you're at. So, but again, I think I know we're adjusting. Hopefully, this thing we're over soon, so we could get really back to normal or somewhat normal.
What was that, Remo? What did you say?
Is there a city that's not? I said, is there a city that's not doing well that you like to throw under the bus?
No, man. Let's just say that there's a lot of cities I know struggling and trying to make it happen. But yeah, I know you're trying to throw a city under the bus, but we're gonna keep it happy medium here.
I hear you. I hear you. I just um, I'm all. I mean, there's definitely what is it? I get some cities are understaffed and so forth, but I've had some experiences that it just feels like there's so many rules in place that make it difficult, and just being involved in so many projects, I obviously always say, hey, do it with permits, but it gets to a point where it's almost like it's close to impossible to do it with permits because not so much that you're not doing it right, but it's the paperwork and I had a personal experience and I just couldn't believe how many times I was asked for something different and a couple times it needed to be notarized and anyway, it
Yeah.
was I'm asking you so I could actually how about that?
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, I guess any advice or any positive message you would have for listeners in terms of what to expect and if they are going through something. I mean, would you guys have anything to offer up?
Some advice. Yeah, I mean, I had an experience, and and I think a lot of life is just about perspective, right? And so there was a meme that was floating around the internet, and it mentioned, and maybe you guys have seen it. It's a shame if we get out of quarantine and you don't learn a new skill, a trade, and so forth, right? And and so I kind of thought that hey, that's true because a lot of us are. I see people biking, people doing landscaping. I'm at Home Depot and like half the shelves are completely empty, so people are doing stuff. And then I get a response from a friend of mine saying, you know what, there's a lot of mental health issues going on as well right now, and it's not just about learning or hustling and this and that. So, and I kind of took that in and said, you know what, that's true because it's the perspective of what's happening is it's either a good thing or a bad thing, and we obviously get to choose that. And for those fortunate that have that, I don't want to say mindset, I guess it might be the best way of putting it, and those that maybe have it or not in the same position, there's new things that are happening from a mental health standpoint that being alone and being isolated is probably you know magnifying, and we won't know those until down line in the future sometime. So as far as something positive to say is, I think at one point this is all going to be behind us, and we are now probably have better hygiene than we've ever had. Um, we're probably more connected. I wave to people when I'm walking or when I'm running, or and you feel so much more sense of community. And sometimes it requires us to slow down to appreciate that. So, for that reason, or I guess that's what I'm focusing on during this time that make me feel like this is something that is there's a silver lining.
Yep.
Mhm.
Christine?
Yeah. Um, I just think that, yeah, absolutely. This time was an opportunity for so many to slow down and just kind of, I know for me personally, I just had finished and accomplished an incredible project. And at the end of it all, it was kind of like a restart, you know, for me. And I think so many other people have kind of experienced that with this, time. But yeah.
No, it definitely. I think from my end, I've kind of, and I've mentioned this to several colleagues when I get a call and they kind of sound a little kind of bummed out and just kind of feeling the stress. I tell them that based on my years in the industry that I'm in, I've been able to experience three and a half kind of economy downturns, and out of all the three and a half, they've all been pretty significant. But we're still here, right? I'm still here. We're still kind of working it through. And what I've noticed and what I've learned out of those downturns is that kind of like what I had mentioned before, you really have like two options. One is you're gonna you're gonna get you're gonna freeze and you're not gonna do anything, and you're gonna kind of take this in a very negative way, and you're gonna let it eat you up, or you're gonna try to find something positive out of this, and you're gonna kind of pivot and shift in a way where it's gonna be positive, productive, and you're gonna work with it, right? Again, in those three and a half downturns, jobs were cut. I know a lot of colleagues of mine that were laid off. A couple businesses or architecture offices or engineering offices that had shut down just because they didn't have work. But again, the ones that were able to keep up were the ones that were able to shift and adjust to the times and again find opportunities. I think it was trying to find opportunities within other offices or current markets to kind of still keep maintaining or staying busy. So that's what I would say to anybody who's listening is just kind of look at this and see try to look at it from a positive side and or positive point of view and what is this really trying to push you towards. Maybe it's a new job, it's a new career, it's a new hobby, it's a new lifestyle. So you're really looking at it to see maybe what you had before wasn't working. This is a perfect opportunity and the perfect time. Now that we do have time, right? We could use that time to be able to adjust to that. Kind of like what Remo's saying. I know we're talking about how to improve and how to better ourselves. That hasn't. I mean, when we try to improve and better ourselves, it might not be financially, it might not be work or a job or career, but it could also be kind of like what Remo was saying is taking care of ourselves, right? Mental health, looking at maybe working on that, health itself, getting exercise and movement, or just getting stronger and developing stronger relationships, whether it's with the spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, brother, sister, mom, dad. I've noticed that the relationships I've had have become a little stronger just because um, now we can't visit. We cannot see each other personally or physically, but we're always able to make that phone call. And those phone calls are more specific. They're very dedicated just because now, we have somebody's attention for that time we're on the phone. So I think it's just looking at it that way. From my end, I've been blessed to be able to stay at home, work at home. So even though I've been able to drop off and pick up my kids from school, now I'm able to eat 3 meals with them a day, which is at the beginning it seemed like it's a lot of work, but you look at it from a different point of view. It's like, man, now we're able to sit down and on the same table and enjoy the same meal at the same time, and just having more time. I mean, they're long days because, like I said, trying to be a dad, trying to be a teacher, and trying to still run a business. These all kind of mash together. So there are long days, very long days. Um, but it doesn't feel that way when you're actually looking at it from a positive side, right? That you're fortunate to be able to do these things. I mean, we're fortunate to be able to have a roof over our head, being able to experience this whole COVID or stay in place with a roof over our head, being able to have food, being able to have toilet paper, because I know we at some point we
2 months ago,
it
no,
was
we knew there
yeah.
was.
So again, I think it's just really looking at it from a positive perspective, and it'll definitely, I think it'll definitely change the way you look at things once we get out of this. Um, it's amazing. I hate running. I hated running. I took up running once we got into this whole COVID thing because I couldn't. There was no gym and there was no other way to kind of stay healthy.
Yeah.
So I've started running. The cool thing about running though is that I noticed now that um, it helps clear up the head. I've been able to do more thinking. I've been able to actually read or listen to more books.
Right.
So I've been able to check off my book list, and that led on to riding my bike now. Now I'm starting to do more cycling, which I haven't done in a long, long time. But again, it's a different form of almost therapy, which is kind of cool. So again, just those little things that you almost take for granted.
Hmm.
You now could see that it's something that's very beneficial for yourself, but at the same time, it keeps you motivated to be able to kind of give a better perspective to life. So that's what I would say to anybody listening to this. And again, just kind of keep your head up, and we'll get through it.
Yeah, I think that, kind of like how I said, people are slowing down. It's really, if you can, I know that when I say it's a collectively traumatic experience, yeah, people are dealing with a lot of stress. But yeah, it's important to slow down and um, be in touch with yourself. Why do you feel certain ways? One big thing that was coming up, actually, just really fast, during the is I noticed so many people were fighting. People were like getting divorces. People were breaking up. Just people were trying to move out of their house. A lot of issues came up, and I think that happens because we were so used to living a fast paced existence. It was so easy
Yeah,
to move past the deep stuff. But when you are confronted with nothing but time, nothing but thoughts, that's when your soul kind of starts to speak to you. And yeah, and truly that's when the growth happens. The growth only
yeah,
happens when you confront what's bothering you and those issues. And I really implore people to, yeah, take up running. That is therapeutic. Take up other, forms of exercise, keeping yourself right and reducing stress. Um, there's just so much more than it's just hitting us on all levels, mentally, spiritually, physically, all that kind of stuff. Like I've been running, and I've exercised here and there. I started this new program called Obey Fitness.
hmm
But again, I'm not exactly like dieting super hard or anything really like that, because for my own mental health it's better for me to not worry about oh, did I exercise today, did I not, things like that.
that's right.
Yeah, so you just got to do what's best for you, and everybody, we're all different humans. And yeah.
That's right. Well, I guess Remo, are you still on the line?
Yeah, Jesse.
All right,
So
Jeff,
so
haven't you asked me to run?
yeah, yeah. Are you running?
Yeah, I'm
He's posting
actually
it on
I'm the
Instagram.
same boat.
Nice.
Please remove your card.
So Remo, to close it off, we were talking at the beginning. We're talking about now that we're restaurants are offering curbside or to go. I guess we'll end the show with is there any to go restaurants that you've frequently you're frequenting now?
Yes. There is so many good specials out right now. It is crazy.
I know. How much do you get? That's like Wealthy Wednesday approved, huh?
Oh my! So where do we go? So Mimo's has buy two get one free breakfast burritos.
Mm-hmm.
You get three breakfast burritos for $15. They also have a burger, two burgers, two fries for $10,
Mm-hmm.
which is a deal. The chicken coop has the whole chicken with three sides, and for an extra $5, you get another whole chicken.
Yep.
So that's usually dinner and lunch, and then dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know what? Who's been? Um, let me get to my truck here because I got two surprises for you. The first is the California Grill. We order from there often. They've been great. We did order for Mother's Day, and they were. I think that he told me that they got like 400 orders in a matter of an hour, and it
Wow.
was a
Wow.
crazy like I think we can say the word poop, right? Shit show, and it was insane. There was people all over the place, and my hat goes off to them, but you know it said 20 minutes online. It was a lot longer. But it's one of those things where when you get that kind of volume, I'm a business owner. I totally get it. And but
Yeah.
That was my only not positive experience, but they've been great. And then my surprise, I can't believe this, and I start thinking different when I see businesses like this, and it's not it's not a mom and pop, it's more of a franchise, and I am just so impressed by Domino's. Domino's
Oh,
Domino's.
is more from the logistics standpoint. I'm a huge that's the kind of stuff that kind of excites me, and so when I place an order at Domino's, it is at and normally if we have work kind of happening at the house or at projects or for our clients, Domino's is just an easy place to go. And I can't tell you from the moment I hit send to the moment it gets to the houses, it's 30 minutes, and it's incredible. Like I'm always floored by how efficient that is. And there's I think one time it was like 22 minutes from the time I ordered it to the time it got to the house.
wow.
It's like stupid. It's stupid. I mean, that's not even possible. So